Hey everyone, welcome to Steph and Key TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you thought of today's video. All right, Beverly Hills, let's get into it. All right, y'all, so I know that I am so behind, but I'm gonna do my best to play catch up this week. It's gonna be hard because I am behind on so many episodes of so many shows. But let's get into episode 2 of Beverly Hills Housewives. So Garcelle is on her way to meet with Kyle so they can discuss the whole charity thing. She's on the phone with Sutton, and then we head over to Erica's overflow closet place. I don't know, she just has this extra space for all her stuff. And the shady editors at Bravo are playing It's Expensive to Be Me by Erica Jane. It's hilarious because it's just like they're so shady playing her song, showing all of her expensive things, knowing that this doom is like lingering and who knows like what's gonna happen with all her money and all her stuff. But Sutton comes over to the overflow closet. They're talking, discussing just life and stuff, and Sutton talks about how she, moved out of her old house, and it's just bringing up a lot of emotions for her because this is like her first like house on her own. And she's talking about like the divorce, and it just seemed like I'm trying to figure out like when did she get a divorce, because just last season she didn't really bring up her ex-husband. Maybe she wasn't allowed to, but she's dating someone new. She's been dating someone for like quite some time. So I'm still trying to figure out like what's going on with her divorce, because she's still like got these emotions going on talking about her ex-husband. But I'm sure divorce is hard no matter how far along it is. Look at Sonia from the New York Housewives. Like, she still talks about her ex-husband. So I'm sure it's just hard to let it go. But and we don't see the new boyfriend anymore. I'm like, is he still on the show? Are they still together? I'm confused. But she's talking about like buying a new house, starting over, starting fresh. And now we're back over to Garcelle and Kyle because they're finally going to meet up for their lunch. Okay, so since I'm behind, I've heard plenty of discussion about Garcelle and Kyle's talk. Now, as a Black woman, I definitely see where Garcelle is coming from. I've been in plenty of the same situation she has, as far as like being treated like crap when you go out to eat and the service is terrible and you don't know whether to tip or not because the service is terrible. But if you don't, they're gonna be like, oh, she wasn't gonna tip anyways because she's Black. And I've been a waitress as well, so it's just a lot that you have to deal with and think about as a Black person. However, I do feel like Kyle is shady and she would have done something nasty whether Garcelle was Black or white. But another point is, I do wonder, like, I know that Kyle, like, most of these women are shady. They're going to do shady things no matter, like, regardless of race. But, like, there's been so much money talk outside of the show with Kyle's husband like owing a whole lot of money. Dorit and PK, come on, like every season we hear about their money troubles, but none of these, like Dorit was chased around a pool while they were being filmed while on vacation because this woman was asking for her money, and it never made it to the show. So they never talk about each other's money issues. So the fact that Kyle did bring up the fact that like, Garcelle, you didn't pay for the charity, like, would Kyle have done that to the other women? Because they never talk about each other's money issues. They never do. So I'm wondering. I don't know. You let me know. But like, and people are saying like, well, Garcelle didn't pay, but she just told y'all because there was miscommunication. The house that they were trying to send the information to collect their money was a house she wasn't even living in for years. So it's not like she did it on purpose. It's not like she was like raising her paddle and then just like, I'm not going to pay this. Come on now. So it's just, I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's a mess. I am glad, though, that Kyle heard where Garcelle was coming from, accepted it. They talked about it. She received it, apologized. They moved on. I wish people, the audience, the fans could do the same, because everybody's just like they're not having the same level of understanding and compassion as Kyle did. like all of her fans are just very angry and vitriol, a lot of vitriol towards Garcelle, which is funny because I'm like, if you're a fan of Kyle and she has some understanding and compassion, why don't you have the same? So it's strange. I mean, it's not surprising. It's not, but I'm glad they talked about it. Whether, like, I don't know what Kyle's intentions were. I mean, I feel like she was just being shady, but I don't know. I don't know Kyle. I don't know her intentions, so I'm glad that Garcelle voiced how she felt. Kyle received it, they talked about it, and then they laughed and moved on. So I do appreciate that. So we get a little more background of Crystal. I really like Crystal. She seems like a lot of fun. We learn about like her growing up with two immigrant parents in Northridge, California, and just like the pressure to be super smart, make great grades, excel at everything. And her brother is actually a pop star in China, but because of the pandemic, he's been stuck in California and he has been reduced to her nanny. So he's like super famous in China. And I'm sure he's probably like, don't put me on camera because I cannot have like all of my fans watching me run your kids around. Like, I am a star. But in California, he's her nanny and driving the kids around to grandma's house. She has like a tight ship. She runs a tight ship in her house. It's like 9,000 square feet. But she says it's just her husband, and Lucy, the housekeeper. That's her staff. And Lucy runs everything. Lucy's the one who's in charge. She kind of reminds me of Zoila from Flipping Out with Jeff Lewis. If you've seen that show, then you know, because like Zoila ran that house. And I feel like Lucy runs this house, and like they show like a clip of like Lucy talking about stuff that she needs, and Crystal's like, oh, am I supposed to be writing you a list? And she's like, come on, hurry up, get it together, Crystal. And I feel like the dynamic is really funny, and it's cool. And you know, they have like a lot of fun, and you can tell that they just work really well together. And Lucy is running that house, and it seems to be like running pretty smoothly. They got like a great schedule thing going on, and it's just nice to see like Crystal just talk about her life, and she's super excited about it. She loves talking about her husband's accomplishments, and I don't know, I just really like Crystal. I'm digging her. So the ladies are getting ready to get on the plane for the trip, Lake Tahoe. Rinna and Garcelle are the first ones to the airport, and Garcelle's like, oh great, it's just me and Rinna. So they're making small talk. They really do need to talk because Rinna just really believes that Dunzo, like they've squashed everything. We're just moving on as if nothing happened. And Garcelle's like, no, I said that I was proceeding with caution. So I don't know why you think we're all good. So like they really need to talk. Kyle shows up, and I've never seen Garcelle be so happy to see Kyle. So that was funny. And then the rest of the ladies start coming. Kathy says she's never been on a girls' trip, which is interesting. She just said like whenever there's trips to do stuff, she always goes with her husband. And then she proceeds to ask Rinna if they're gonna have any little treats or something to eat. I love a woman who likes to eat, so I'm right there with ya. Finally, Erica gets there, and all the ladies are there. They're ready to go. So they get on the plane. Garcelle's having, you know, just a little, like fright, like fear of heights. But what is it, like planes? Is that something different? I don't know. But she's afraid of small planes. And she told them this at the reunion, so they do like a flashback, and she told them this, so it's not surprising that she's scared to be on this plane. And it's also weird that Kyle's not freaking out, because before, that's all Kyle did. Like anytime they got on a private plane to go anywhere, Kyle would freak out. So it's really weird that she's not like that anymore. And it's also weird that she wasn't understanding of that when Garcelle was talking about it. But they also weren't getting along, so I'm sure that's why. But if y'all remember Beverly Hills before, Kyle would, like, and Garcelle's not even really freaking out. She's just quiet, taking deep breaths, eyes closed. But Kyle would freak out when they would had to get on private planes. So it's interesting, but they land safely, and we're about to see this beautiful house. So they get to the house, and it's beautiful. I mean, I grew up in California, and I've been to Lake Tahoe, but I have not been to Lake Tahoe. Like, it's 17,000 square feet. I think like 17 bedrooms. It's got pool, jacuzzi, sauna, movie theater. It's massive. It's beautiful. And so the ladies have to bring in their own bags, and they don't like that. Rena's like, I wanted to hire someone to help with the bags and stuff, but the pandemic, so they wouldn't let them. So, but they do have a chef. They do have a private chef, and that's amazing. I love when other people cook for me. Oh, and so they also start picking the rooms, but the guy touring the house for them, like giving them a tour guide of the house, lets them know that you can't leave the sliding doors open because of bears. And Garcelle's like, and so she grabs her stuff and's going upstairs. She's like, you ain't gotta tell a black woman twice. And I concur, because no, I'm gonna be upstairs. Like, is there a third level? Because that's where I'll be. I'm not dealing with no bears. No. Kathy is looking for her fan. She keeps asking everybody where her fan is because she has to sleep with the humming noise. You can't have complete silence. There has to be some noise so she can sleep. Kathy and Kyle are talking about how they're glad to spend some time together. You know, they've been reconnecting. The Richard sisters, like, are, you know, on and off as far as, like, the relationship. It's a lot of love and then turmoil. But I feel like not all siblings are like that, but some siblings, it's not going to be all, like, roses and rainbows and stuff. So they, but they're good right now, and they're just talking about, the shady editors and Bravo do a flashback of when Kyle was doing that show, American Woman, about, like, her life with her mom and her sisters, and Kathy and Kim were like, and so they weren't talking to her for the whole run of the show. And then they show, like, Kyle talking to Rinna, and she's like, oh, I had dinner with Kathy, like, we're good again. And Rinna's like, oh, because the show got canceled. So shady. But it was true. Like, right after that show got canceled, they were good again. So I hope they stay good. But, you know, I mean, reality shows and family always brings out the drama. So you just never know. So Kyle decides to cook, but not really. She's, like, giving the chef the night off, and she's gonna cook, except for the fact that she makes the chef turn into her sous chef, and she's, like, having her do all this stuff for her. And I'm like, why didn't you just let the chef cook? Why? So the ladies come down. Crystal's like, how can I help? And Kyle's like, oh, I could use a drink. So Crystal makes a margarita. I love a good margarita. Kyle puts the fish into the oven, and she comes to hang out with the ladies. She's talking to Sutton. She accidentally calls her Garcelle, and then they start laughing because they make fun of Kathy for calling Garcelle Kyle the other night. And you know how Kyle loves to do impressions. She's really good at it, and she does an impression of Kathy, and she's like, Kyle, is that you? I can't do it, but she does really good impressions. And she's making fun of Kathy, and they're cracking up by her thinking that Garcelle was Kyle. I'm like, girl, get some, what is it? It's LASIK. Get some LASIK. I mean, you're rich enough. Like, get your eyes done, girl. It's a mess. So they were laughing and cracking up, and then the fire alarm goes off. Kyle has burned the fish. I'm like, another reason why you have a private chef, so that you can relax and entertain and have fun, but not have to cook. She burns the fish. It's time to eat. Thank God they had, like, another dish. She made, like, a pasta dish, so they at least have that. I mean, the ladies try to eat the fish for her, but Erica's like, it's not blackened fish, it's burnt fish. It's burnt. So I feel bad for them, but, like, they all put that fish on their plate. And they're just talking and having a good time. And Kathy is calling Kyle Doogie. I guess that's their, like, pet name. That was Kathy and Kim's pet name for Kyle. And even the producers are like, what is Doogie? What's a Doogie? And she's like, you know, like a little, it sounds like she's about to say something else, but she said, like, a little child, a little Tootsie Roll. So I'm like a little piece of poop? Like, I don't understand. What's a Doogie? Because what a Tootsie Roll looks like a little piece of poop. So I don't know, like, what that is, but they're laughing, having a good time. And then Sutton she has gifts for everyone, and then she asks, like, Garcelle to play Santa to pass out the gifts. I'm like, girl, get up and give your own gifts. How are you gonna bring gifts and then have somebody else pass them out? That was weird. Sutton gives everyone flasks. I can't say it. Flask. Lord. I hope I'm saying it right. Flask, right? She gives them all, each one with their initials on it. Crystal's never received a flask, and Kathy, I guess, hasn't either. She doesn't know what to put in hers. She said maybe some mouthwash. I mean, you do drink, Kathy. You can just put an alcohol beverage in there. That's what it's for. But they go downstairs to play Two Truths and a Lie. Crystal goes first. Like, hers were good. She said, like, arrested, worked at an escort agency, and propositioned to be a madam. And her lie was she was arrested. So she worked at an escort agency as a phone operator when she was 18. She said right before college. Everybody was like, because hers were good. But I'm like, interesting that she worked at an escort agency at 18. People have been talking because they said, like, you met your husband super young and you worked at an escort agency, trying to put two and two together. I did not even think of this, but when somebody mentioned it, I was like, interesting. But, I mean, she set the bar really high, and I don't know how anybody else is going to top this. Sutton's lie was that she was a virgin before she got married, so she wasn't a virgin before she got married. Nobody believed that she worked at Starbucks. Nobody believed. Erica said that she was an informant for a case, and now we're all like, is it for your husband's case? Because I'm like, they keep slipping little things in, and I'm just like, what's going on? Are we gonna get like the full tea or not? Lisa Rinna tries to go and says she can't think of anything. She's like, I'm not a good liar. Girl, goodbye. That right there was the lie. Kathy doesn't know how to play because she tells all truths. So they laugh, and now people are going to sleep. It's just Kyle and Sutton and Crystal are up now, and they're going to have like a drink and talk. So Garcelle and Lisa finally have their talk, and Garcelle is just like, when we had our dinner, you just came in and was like, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. Forgive me, let's move on. And Garcelle's like, you didn't even really give me a chance to say, like, my piece. And she's like, I just feel like you were a crappy friend to Denise. You were a crappy friend to me. The three of us have known each other a long-ass time, and I can't believe that you treated Denise that way. And I'm still pissed about it. And how do I know that, like, you won't treat me that way? And Rinna was just like, I can't promise you that. And Garcelle's like, that's crazy, because I can promise you that I would never turn on you. And she's like, and you were saying, like, that we're close, but you had the same type of friendship with Denise. Like, all three of us knew each other the same amount of time, and you're saying that you were never that close with Denise. So it's just weird. And I feel like Rinna is Rinna. She's something, you know? And I feel like at least she told Garcelle the truth. So Garcelle, keep your guard up. Like, she said she can't promise that she won't turn on you. So I would just make sure that I wouldn't tell her anything. Keep it very surface level and just be on guard, because I feel like she's gonna come for you at some point, because you're not accepting her friendship right away after the way she dogged your friend out. So yeah, I mean, at least they were able to communicate, and now I feel like hopefully they're on the same page. So now we're with Kyle, Sutton, and Crystal, and Kyle's just saying, like, I had a really fun moment. Well, I just had a really fun time with Garcelle, and I feel like she's been just really adorable and sweet. And Crystal's like, was she not before? And Kyle's like, well, no, it's just like we had like a moment and we were like not getting along. And then Sutton jumps in and she's like, yes, but she's like, I understand where Garcelle's coming from, but I feel like I know that you weren't trying to do anything to make her feel bad and blah, blah, blah. It had nothing to do with her race and blah, blah, blah. And Crystal's just like, well, what's going on? So Kyle tells Crystal what happened. And when she tells Crystal, Crystal cringes. She's like, do you regret it? And Kyle's like, well, not at the time I didn't. But she's like, but after like Garcelle told me about the stigma and stuff and like what goes on with how Black people are portrayed as far as like paying bills and not paying bills and not tipping and all that stuff. Kyle understood it, and Crystal was like, oh, okay. And she's like, well, you know, just coming from, well, someone who's not white. Like, I've dealt with stereotypes before, and I've dealt with Asian comments with my friends, and when you're in that moment dealing with this racial issue, like she said, sometimes like you can't see anything but red, because it's just like, it's so like jarring to have to deal with something like that. And so she's like, but I'm not trying to say that I know exactly where Garcelle's coming from. And then Sutton jumps in and is like, no, I am not doing that. I am not doing that. And Crystal's like, you're not doing what? And she's like, I'm not going into racial stereotypes and and then like Crystal's like, okay, because you don't have to. Like, that's something you deal with. And then she's like, well, I don't know, maybe you do. And then Sutton's like, why? Because I'm a Southern white lady, and you don't think that when I see rednecks that I don't get upset. And I'm just like, is Sutton really comparing being called a redneck to a Black person or a person of color being called racial slurs and dealing with racism in this country? Like, Sutton, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? So her and Crystal are like kind of going at it back and forth, and Crystal's like this is insane. She's like, tell me you're that girl. Are you that girl who doesn't see color? And Sutton's just sitting there like, are you kidding me? And she's like, no, tell me you're that girl. Do you not see color? And then it cuts off to be continued, and I'm just, Lord, this is the second time I've seen this, and I'm just like, it's still like, Sutton, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, why did she have to jump in like that? And like, I am not doing this racial. It was a racial thing. That's why Garcelle brought it up. And that's why her and Kyle talked about it. Kyle was expressing it. Crystal added her 2 cents as a person of color, not a Black woman, but a person of color. And she gave her perspective as a person of color. And she also said she did not know where Garcelle was exactly coming from. So she wasn't trying to compare. But then Sutton like made it as if it had nothing to do with that, even though that was the conversation. So Sutton, what are you talking about? And the nerve of you. Girl, Sutton. I was right there with Crystal. When she said, tell me you're that girl, you don't see color. I was laughing. I'm sorry, because Sutton's being ridiculous right now. And girl, I was trying to like you the first episode, but like, we're already on episode 2 and you're like gone off the deep end. I don't know. So yeah, where I'm to be continued. I gotta watch episode 3 and 4 and 5 and catch up. But I'm almost afraid to ask what you thought of this episode. But please let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit that notification bell so you're in the know when I release a new video. And subscribe. I would love to have you a part of Steph and Kiwi TV. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.